freestyle rap at all?
Not yet.
Doesn't it appear to be extremely coincidental that you guys arrest people right outside of Governor Newsom's press conference? Is this really just a show of power?
Patriots, this is Secret Service Sam. Welcome to Samson's World. Welcome to Samson's World, where court, comedy, culture, and your universe collide. We have a very special Samson's World. Somebody on Instagram said, "What is this?" Rick Agrow, this is Samson's World. I think I just said that. So thank you for joining. This is a beautiful Tuesday afternoon, Taco Tuesday. I have Alana back on the show with me with the Knock It Off book. And we're going to be discussing a little bit of the Nancy Guthrie case and some updates, but then also some brand new breaking news that Alana is part of. Let me bring Alana on here so we can say hello.
Hi.
Alana, how are you doing? Welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Samson. Nice to see you.
Yeah, you too. You too. How are you doing today?
I'm doing all right. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about yourself?
Good. Oh, very good. I was a little tired, honestly. I was just been just doing a lot of work. Did a Pilates class today too. Pretty LA thing to say. And
Love.
almost passed out after. I was so tired.
I love it.
I was like, like when you work out and you're just like, oh, it's so good, but then you're just like, oh my God, I just want to pass out. But
nice. Good for you.
Hey, thank you. Yeah. It's a great workout. I know you're a yoga instructor, but do you venture into Pilates as well?
I'm also a Pilates instructor. I mean, for many years. Yeah. I ran the Pilates studio at La Costa Resort for 7 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would
on
kind
the
of
mega reformers or
on the reformers. Yeah. The stock reformers. It was great.
It's
and
I would workout.
Mix the yoga and the Pilates and fitness with all of my clients. So
oh wow, okay. Yeah, it's such a great workout. It's funny, I'm usually the only man in there, which is perfectly fine with me, but I'm like, gosh, guys could really benefit, because it's like weight training without having to do crazy weightlifting. It's kind of your stretching and it's a great workout. I don't know why.
You get full range of motion with like spring resistance, which is like what creates a dancer's body. So it's really such a great workout. So keep doing it.
I will, yeah. And I need a dancer's body, you know what I mean? Like we all do. I tell my wife, it's like, it gets your booty shelf to come out, it's like doing squats. It's like a full, like you said, it's a real dancer's body. Somebody said hello from Minnesota. Hello, Minnesota. How are you guys doing? So real quick, do we have any real updates at all in terms of the Nancy Guthrie case? I know we were just talking about Annie and Tomas, the sister and brother-in-law of Savannah Guthrie, that they've pretty much been cleared.
Yeah, I don't have any updates. I really stepped away from that. It just seems, the FBI is going to be the one that's going to crack this, I think, because they have the forensics. You don't think so? Yeah.
Well, I don't know. I don't have a lot of trust in our FBI right now with Kash Patel leading it. We did talk about Luke Daly the other day, that he was on an interview, I think, for True Crime Arizona. And you and I both mentioned that two things that stuck out is he had a goatee, right? And then he shaved his goatee off, which is very strange.
I mean, it could be that he's just being, coached to look not like the perpetrator, but it also is a bit suspect too.
It is a little bit sus. And then also you had pointed out in the video on the Ring camera, I believe it's on the right wrist, looks to be some type of a tattoo on the perpetrator. And we were saying, and he's covered head to toe, and so two ways if he wants to clear his name, which he was saying, he's tired of, police trying to frame him for this thing and everything. is that, you know, he could have worn some short sleeves to show he didn't have any tattoos. Right. And also, you know, we were both kind of pointing out that when he was answering questions, he's kind of looking off to the, you know, I always think of speaker Mike Johnson when I think of liars, because he, well, you never know, you know, and he kind of, well, you know, like,
yeah,
he kind of looks off camera when, you know, when somebody is telling the truth, they look you in the eye. You know, anytime my kids aren't being honest, I'm like my son Charlie at his basketball practice, it was like 90 degrees out. It's so hot. And he's like, Dad, can I go to the car and get my jacket? And I was like, last week it was freezing cold and I was telling you to put on your jacket and you're telling me you're not cold. And now when it's like hot outside, you're telling me you need your jacket. I was like, I don't believe you. And finally I figured out he wanted to go to his car. He wanted to go to my car to grab his cell phone to call his friend. And I was like, yeah, you're lying to me. You're just trying to call your buddy and everything. But he couldn't look at me. He's like, oh, I don't know, Dad. I'm just cold.
I would love to know why the FBI detained Luke originally before he was on anyone's radar.
Right.
You know, some people say that it was a tip off from Kayla because she was arrested the night before, but she was arrested because of their investigation into Luke Daly. So, yeah, hopefully we'll find out.
There's just still something about Luke Daly that doesn't sit right. I mean, he
bought a Range Rover 6 days after a kidnapping. I mean,
exactly, which is very strange behavior. Like we talked about, Kayla was arrested. Zach, who, you know, is an accountant and in the cryptocurrency world. There's just something about those three that, like we said, they're like the three musketeers, like, you know, together they possessed all of the skills to kind of make this happen, allegedly.
Yeah, with Kayla's husband. Yeah, Billy. Yeah, it's hopefully we'll find out. Let's not like take our finger off the pulse and keep sending energy out for Nancy, because that is just horrifying.
Yeah, and I don't know if you saw yesterday, there was a influencer doing a photo shoot out in front of Nancy's house. And I'm just thinking, like, good Lord, like, how bad do people need attention?
And it only hurts people who are doing investigative journalists, you know, like who are independent. It only hurts us when people act that way, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. It takes some of the seriousness away from actually trying to share things and facts that are going around, you know, because I think that's how these things nowadays generally get solved, like on Reddit or somebody who's like yourself, who's done a lot of investigative journalism and poking around, that usually finds something that some of the highest trained, you know, FBI experts miss out on.
Sometimes they miss. I think there was an FBI agent on CNN and he was saying, listen, I saw a video about the wrist tattoo and none of us saw it. Like they'll admit, like, wow, there are certain things that, you know, we can pick up and help. But
yeah, it's really fascinating. Somebody said, Philly, Shay said, this page I didn't know I needed in my life. Love it here. Thank you so much for joining us. And let's see. We already have some comments coming in from YouTube. The party told you reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command. George Orwell. Yeah, that's very true. Is there a second Nancy Guthrie, one who lives in Ohio?
Yes.
I'm not aware of that. Oh, there is. Yeah. Okay.
She's, I believe, a teacher. Yeah.
Oh, really?
An author on Christian theology.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't know that. She was a compliance officer for a drug company serving hospice and nursing homes. Please address this. This Nancy disappeared around the same time. That's interesting. I didn't know that. Is there something in your audio? I'm just hearing a little ruffling.
I think my chair moved. Is that better?
Maybe. Interesting. Somebody said Sam is a scam. Thank you, guys. Appreciate the positive energy. I believe whoever did those Google searches in the previous 8 months. Yeah, I remember somebody looked up, there were Google searches that were mapping, that were looking at Nancy's home, and searches that looked up how much Savannah Guthrie made, her salary. So that, I agree. I wonder who that could be.
Hopefully they can find the IP address.
Will never solve the case. Better chance with the FBI. I live here. Who Nanos is that the police lieutenant?
I guess the sheriff.
The sheriff. Yeah. I agree. I mean, the FBI just seems, I don't know. It's very hard to take Kash Patel seriously. I feel like he's more concerned. I mean, I think they just saw Kash Patel. He used FBI resources to, I think it was in the UK where his girlfriend needed a ride from the airport. And so he had FBI resources and people go to get her and give her like a police escort because in the UK they wouldn't do it. And they just keep talking about, I mean, and I can only imagine a guy like Kash Patel trying to impress his girlfriend. Like, oh,
Totally,
I'll send the brigade for you in a police escort. It's like, he just seems, Kash Patel seems like the guy who could barely get a girlfriend. And now he's just like head of the FBI and he's like just trying to show off with everything he can do. Somebody said, I feel like they just gave up. It's like, oh, well, we can't find her. And so, yeah, I've kind of been feeling that way a little bit as well. And I think that's important why we keep talking about it.
My like, why would Kash Patel accidentally upload a picture on his X account that sleuths figured out was not the same day of the actual kidnapping, and he didn't announce that, so he probably made a mistake and accidentally just like put these pictures up thinking, oh, this is, but if he has that footage, then there has to be other footage that they have, and they would have the timestamp. There's things like, so the fact that they're not sharing that makes me think they know more than they're letting on. But
well, just like when they came out with the Ring camera footage almost 12 days after the fact, I'm like, why would it? I feel like they could have gotten that day too. And I know they were saying that because maybe her camera wasn't recording. Yeah, she didn't have a subscription, so they had to go to the cloud service to get this stuff. But still, I feel like if you're the FBI, you can fast track. I mean, you'd think it would take less than the almost 2 weeks it took them for us to finally see some of these videos. That just seemed very suspect to me.
And I still am a bit suspect of like higher ups being involved because of the Epstein files. So if that's the case, I mean, let's pray not. But like, God, what if the FBI were involved or they had to keep quiet because, people connected to them, were involved.
Yeah, I mean, even I remember we were talking about how President Trump on Air Force One was like, yeah, I think, we've got some things we're going to announce on it. We've got some, he was like, for a minute, almost acting like he had some big leads. And then all of a sudden, you haven't heard him say a word about Nancy Guthrie at all.
He's saving that for when he needs to look like a hero.
I think so, yeah. And then I just saw another interview with Savannah Guthrie. I'm just trying to rattle my brain who she was interviewing. But it had something to do with the Epstein files. And you're just like, wow. It just makes you realize like Savannah was really there, interviewing some of these victims and really trying to get to the bottom of it. And it's almost like she poked the bear a little bit too much.
Someone's trying to hurt her. And this is the ultimate way to hurt her.
Of course. And so I don't know. And we haven't even heard a lot of messages from Savannah lately. I saw that they just went over to the memorial of her mom's, which I believe is probably in front of the house, and went there. But it's just devastating. I mean, almost in a way, I'm sure they're like, just stop this pain already. And if our mom is gone, let us know. And isn't it kind of odd? Like all of, like we've talked about, like TMZ, like why was TMZ getting all these letters? Why were these letters not being sent to local law enforcement or the FBI? And then TMZ has dropped the story. You really haven't heard them talking about it anymore. And I'm just wondering, like, why has there not been any more, hey, because they never got any money out of it. The whole thing about the crypto, there was $1 million reward put out by Savannah. So it's just very odd that it's
which makes you think it has to be somewhat gang related because they have till death oaths, of silence, no matter how much money.
Yeah. Somebody said the Epstein files, why weren't they talking about it all during Biden's presidency? Oh, yeah.
I agree.
We already addressed this, guys. We all agree with that.
Let's not compare them, but we all agree.
Right. And my answer to that is always because they were all a part of it. You know what I mean? I think I do credit President Trump and this administration for saying we're going to release the files. I think that it's a they bit off a little bit more than they could chew. And there's still millions of files that need to be released. I think the question needs to be answered is like, let's, I can't stand when people are like, Biden, what about, it's like, Joe Biden's gone. You know what I mean? We are over a year into this presidency. And I always say, like, could you imagine seeing like Tom Brady win the Super Bowl and then just being like, man, the St. Louis Rams are a bunch of bums a year later and their quarterback sucked. And it's like, dude, you won the Super Bowl.
They cheated never the last time I played them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You never
they wanted me.
Yeah, you never hear somebody who's like won a World Series just talk trash about the losing team. So it's like this whole thing of Biden, it's like, guys, drop Biden. It's now Trump's.
It's a deflection because people can't accept, that Trump's in the Epstein files. So they just always bring out the B word.
It is. It really, it's so hard for people to accept that Trump's name is, all over. I just saw Hillary Clinton, of course, was in there testifying. Bill Clinton was testifying because a lot of people like to say, oh, Trump was an informant and he kicked Epstein out of Mar-a-Lago. But come to find out that Epstein was never a member at Mar-a-Lago. And then Bill Clinton just testified saying that he recalled playing golf with Trump and Trump being upset, saying Jeffrey Epstein was a great friend of mine, but they had a falling out over a real estate deal.
And the real estate deal was that Trump brought Jeff to look at a property that he was going to buy. Oh, no, sorry. Jeff brought Trump to a property that he was going to buy, and Trump went and got it went around him and got it himself.
Sure. Which that sounds very Trumpian to me.
Yeah.
So it's just, I think a lot of people have a very hard time accepting that that Trump could be a part of this, that he could be a pedophile. And it's interesting because I would say the difference between, if you're talking Democrats, I don't talk to any Democrats who are like, Bill Clinton wasn't there. They're like, if Bill Clinton was there, take him down. If any Democrats were there, and I would hope all Republicans, Democrats, Independents, I would hope everybody agrees that pedophiles should be taken down no matter where they stand.
I was almost hoping that Bill Clinton was going to be like, there were some girls that looked young and they were rubbing my shoulders at the train station and I shouldn't have done it. Something, not just all, deflect, but.
Right. And that's who it was. It was Bill Gates that Nancy Savannah Guthrie was interviewing. And it made me think like, okay, here's one of the richest men in the world. And she's like, don't you think that was wrong? And, Bill Gates is now famously saying like, yeah, I really wish I hadn't associated with him and I apologize. And then you talk to Bill Gates's ex-wife now, who was like, you could tell she was really grossed out by a lot of the shit that Bill Gates, I hate to say it, he looks like the type of dude who would be into younger girls. You know what I mean? Like just a nerdier guy who never had any game with women and never got women until he got rich, and looks like he's into like Jeff Bezos. Yeah, exactly. Which brings us into another, a huge story that nobody has talked about because nobody is aware of. And I want to kind of give you the floor, Alana, to kind of bring people into this and explain that Lauren Sanchez Bezos, allegedly, we'll say for now, stole your children's book idea and is now trying to peddle it off as her own.
Well, there's multiple books in it.
Okay.
I was Lauren's private yoga teacher for almost 4 years and close friends. She loved my business. She wanted to partner. We met at Extra TV. We met at her home. She signed an NDA. I was, trying to get her a lingerie line. We were talking about doing a 21-day fitness program together. She loved my children's books. Her kids had all my books. She had all my activewear. But something happened. We had a falling out at her 40th birthday party. And I really didn't have much capacity for her at that time. And so the next day I just drove to her house. I wrote her a check for the remaining 3 sessions that she had. And I just said, I don't deserve to be treated this way. And that was it. So she has held this resentment against me since, this personal vendetta. How dare you quit working for me? And then I was kind of I was going through, I was in an abusive relationship. That's why I just had no capacity for these kind of people, those kind of clients. And so I was taking time to try to heal, and I opened up a yoga studio, and she just could never let it go. Flash forward 2019, she came to my studio, and I have the security footage. The first thing she says, she points to my books on the display. She's like, I know her. I have these books. And so, we hugged, we talked a little bit. It seemed like, oh, okay. I was happy for her, truly. She looked different. She looked like she was happy with Jeff. So I sent her. So I created the As I Am girls, and it took me 20 years to fully create these characters. And so each year I would release a new book. And that year in 2022, I was releasing Dharma Kitty Goes to Mars. And it was about this cat. And the As I Am girls are this multicultural group of girls that support the sustainable aspects of the planet and the world. And they go to space, they go to the ocean, they go to the rainforest, and they're teaching kids about these healthy ways of being. So that year I was releasing Dharma Kitty Goes to Mars. And I thought, how great. All of my books gave to a charity, right? And gave back. So I reached out to Lauren and I said, why don't we partner with the Bezos Earth Fund, kind of get back to these conversations about partnering that we had. And I shared with her my Niyama doll, which is from Brazil, and that story about the rainforest. And then my book about the cat that goes to Mars.
Right.
And she doesn't reply to me. But instead, 6 months later, in a Vogue magazine article, she states that she's going to write a children's book about a fly astronaut who becomes an environmentalist. So now these are the two characters that I just emailed and messaged her about. And so not only, so then she gets herself a book deal based on my brand idea and all of this. And then she had to go back to the source because she doesn't know how to write a book. So then she actually mimics my exact story. I issued her a cease and desist 6 months before it published. So then they tried to change it a little bit to make it a bit different enough. And I actually have a declaration from her manager, which I will read to you, where he said he was in a room and she said, I just have to change it enough so she doesn't sue me.
Wow.
So, I mean, and the
it's not hard for her to get a book deal either, seeing as her husband owns Amazon, I mean,
yeah. And then to be a best-selling, a New York Times bestseller, he bought the books, so
it was a New York Times bestseller and everything.
Yeah, of course, because all you have to do is sell 5,000 in a week, right? So, so Jeff just buys 5,000 and then boom. Wow. So it's just really, I ended up writing a book, Knock It Off, about it. And I'm kind of shifting where I was with everything being yoga and peace, love, and rainbows and butterflies. I'm now angry at the narcissists of the world because Lauren is not the only one. This is how all of them work. You don't get to a place of status and wealth unless you are complicit to this kind of behavior, right? Yeah. And I'm not alone. There are every single day, you're a comedian. People just grab content left, right, and center. It's almost worse now because people are starved for content and they're just trying to get attention and eyeballs on them. But for Lauren, it was more like she was trying so hard to get Jeff to see her as kind of what I do, that I care about child development and kids and wellness and the planet and all of these things. So it was really more of convincing him at the same time trying to look a certain way instead of who she is. Now, same with Deepak Chopra. At the same exact time, one of my chapters in my book is about Dr. Sharma. Okay. And but in real life, I worked for Deepak Chopra and the Chopra Center for 7 years.
Wow.
I presented my 21-day program, the same book that Lauren loved, which had my 21-day program in it.
Okay.
And I pitched it to the Chopra Center and I said, hey, let's partner. I'll do the yoga, you do the meditations, and let's just offer for free for people. Yeah. And they laughed in my face and said, Alana, we're a for-profit company. Why would we do that? Wow. And the same thing. Then they, months later, partner with Oprah Winfrey and do this 21-day free meditation challenge.
Oh my gosh.
So that time in my life, I was just bursting like the sun with creativity, and I was a celebrity yoga teacher, so I was surrounded by all of these people. And you would think that they would be like, "Great, let's elevate Alana in what she does," but instead they're like, "Let's just take from her." And so that's my book, Knock It Off. I go through these stories that I've had in my life, and also just give prompts and advice to people how to navigate narcissists. I've got the sociopath, the social climber, the socialite. I've got the charlatan, the posers. And these are just everyday people who are trying to deceive others in order to get to the White House or whatever it is.
And look smarter themselves, you know, and kind of take credit to make it look like they're the ones who, oh, it's me who came up with this idea. It's always those people, instead of doing, you know, they're not creative people, so they'd rather steal it from you. But you know, the best part about that stuff, I find, is like kind of the truth will always come to the light, that they don't have the ability to create anything, you know, outside of it. Like, hey man, I need some more songs, you know, or it's like, I always think of like Little Richard saying how like Pat Boone and Elvis Presley sold more copies of Tutti Frutti. But then when he was getting his start, he started playing the songs faster because he knew his white counterparts couldn't keep up with it, literally. And it's almost like it's like that, you know, creativity, I believe, will always win out in the end, because that person they need to come back to you for more creativity. You know, they're not able to do it themselves.
Which leads us to today. Today she released so she turned her books into a series like mine. Okay. And now mine goes from space to the ocean to the rainforest, like I said. Guess where hers is going? From space, ocean. So now that's not illegal, right? It's not something I could sue her for, but it's just like shameless and blatant, just continuation of my brand themes and everything I've worked so hard for. Yeah. It's disheartening. It really is. It's a horrible feeling. And she has smeared my name to press. I've had a producer at TMZ and editors that have written declarations in support of me based on what her PR people have said to them about me. Wow. And so that's what these people do. They try to suppress these voices who are speaking out against them. And she just thinks that she can use her money to get away with it. But at the end of our lives, we have to face ourselves, in my opinion.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. I mean, I think she will have to face it at some point. And it's almost a David versus Goliath kind of story, because it's just not fair with all the, I mean, can you imagine what kind of, you know, Jeff, okay, honey, yeah, do whatever you need to do. Yeah, sue her, whatever. I'll get you the best, you know, she has everything to her disposal. And it's like, why, you know, it's so crappy about it is what a narcissist to want all the credit instead of, like, you offered to partner with her on this. So it's like, why not split the love, split the credit? I mean, that was very kind of you to even be like, look, I'll let you in on a little bit of my stuff. So I'm sure you were thinking, great, I'll be able to get my stuff way more out there with the backing of Jeff Bezos and Amazon. For her to just be selfish and want to just take it all for herself. But I think that's going to bite her in the end.
It's the pride because I quit working for her. If I hadn't quit working for her, it would be a different story. So there's just this personal pride. Now, it's interesting that you say that too, because she made a huge mistake in our legal case. So we're in a lawsuit right now. And her lawyers served my lawyer with this threatening, like, bulldog sanction, threatening to file a motion for sanctions. And in it, and they must not have known the truth at that point. I think she was lying to everyone. She included a declaration.
Right.
She included a declaration where she perjures herself 5 times. Like, we're talking these are like factual, like, she just perjured herself. And I shouldn't have said that here because, you know, I mean, I've just been trying to keep everything quiet on the lowdown, but she doesn't care to try to make things better. And that's frustrating for me.
Well, she's drunk with money and power. I mean, can you imagine? I mean, her husband's one of the richest men in the world. The lawyers are probably from the biggest, toughest, richest law firms in the world. So
it's not easy.
It's almost like she's sitting in this castle with this arsenal of protection and weaponry and everything she needs, and you're sitting there out in the middle of the field on your own,
Yeah.
trying to defend yourself. So obviously, she thinks she has the upper hand.
Yeah, and that's why I just want to speak out for anyone just to listen to victims, to support small businesses, to support original authors and artists and independent journalists that are speaking the truth and that are, you know, banning billionaires and talking about what's happening with these monopolies.
Yeah.
It's all very, very scary stuff. You know, this is my book, Knock It Off here. So this is the one I'm talking about.
Oh, cool. Okay, definitely. And make sure you guys pick that up. Now, do you want me to bring up this video you had sent me yet, Alana, or?
Sure. Yeah. That's going to show you the side-by-side of the books that's in the lawsuit. Okay, that's the lawsuits. There's a couple pages there. My lawyer put that together.
Yeah, just explain this as we're seeing it and tell me to pause if you need me to.
Oh, okay. So also too, go ahead and pause that. So a lot of people have been inspired by my work for sure, but not many have the billions of dollars to just live out my creative dreams. So having, like, when she went to space, if you go back a page, look at the spacesuit of my character. And then look at the spacesuit that Lauren
wow, you're talking about when she went to space with Gail and Katy Perry and everybody, which nobody really supported that at all.
But I don't know if you can make that clearer on that picture.
Let's see.
It just goes to show just, you know, her desperation to be something, to be loved. She loved that I was this all-girl series of mine, and then she goes and gets this multicultural group of girls. I mean, it's
oh my gosh!
You know what I'm saying?
Spacesuit, and that's the spacesuit of your character that we see, and literally she stole the spacesuit idea to. So this is like such a multi-layered, like copyright. So this is your, and who are you, the illustrator, Alana?
No, I hire an illustrator. My lawyer is just like, he's always saying she just loves trolling me. You know, she just loves thinking she can get away with like taking all of my kind of creative work and, you know, blasting her name on it. It's just sad, in my opinion.
It really is. I didn't see this, the side by side of.
Yeah, now go ahead and do the side by side. Go ahead to the next page.
You know, because that was such a widely televised event that everybody saw, and I can only imagine how upset you were to almost be like, oh my god, these are like my costume designs now. And are these your designs? Is this the illustrators? Did you say to the illustrator, look, this is what I want, and she drew that?
It's always I always kind of give direction, but she really brings a lot of creativity as well. She's just awesome. And but like the rocket logo
alongside.
Say again.
Is the illustrator also part of this lawsuit also? Because obviously she's
Lauren's team have harassed my illustrator. I feel so bad for her. So go ahead and click play it again, and I'm going to go through.
That is just shocking. The spacesuits. I'm just really honestly blown away by it because this is just going so much further past the children's book so she's almost like, hey guys, let's do the suits in my kids' book. And I mean, it just blows me away that you could do this. And tell me when to stop again.
Okay, so on the left is my book, on the right is Lauren's. Okay, so go ahead and let it play. And
let me let it play. Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, now it's playing.
Okay, great. So then mine is aspiring to be an astronaut. She makes hers aspiring to be an astronaut.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I have a classroom scene on the left. She has a classroom scene on the right.
Wow.
I have a console keyboard scene. She has a console keyboard scene.
Oh my God.
Then I've got this, mission control scene, mission control. And then she's trapped. Oh no, she's trapped inside the space capsule. Oh no, the fly's trapped inside the space capsule.
Wow.
Help. The lights are going, exact same wording.
Wow.
And then you're looking out at space from the window, both sides.
Yeah.
And then, a pan out of space and talking about, the Earth and space. And then, the family's worried on both sides. Family's worried. And, the family's so happy to have you back. They're hugging both sides.
It's shocking to me.
Oh, they got an award. Both characters get an award.
Oh,
Both use I am focus, which is my signature, way about going about my books. And then you'll see the rocket
okay.
logo that I have on my character's clothing. She also put a
Okay.
rocket logo on her character's clothing.
Wow. No, was this rocket logo, was that what was on their uniforms that when they went to space at all? Or was there any
I'm
similarities
not
with
sure.
that? Or,
I block
okay.
her. I really don't want her. I don't want to look at her. The
Yeah,
fact
or
that I
you don't
have,
want her looking at you. I mean, it's like I would be like, good
yeah.
Lord, I don't want to put out a single idea that she's just gonna. You almost have to like keep all your ideas secret and then put them
Dude, do you
up
want to
so
know another
she
one?
can't keep up. Go
One
ahead.
of them is that my activewear line, I have a collection called Wear Your Art Out that Lauren loved. And I would print artwork on the fabric and then make
Uh-huh.
leggings out of them. And now she's like co-chair for the Met Gala. And do you know what their theme is?
No.
Fashion is art. I mean, I think she just goes to my
Wow.
website and is like, knows how creative I am. And is like, what can I take
Wow.
from Alana today?
Wow. I mean, yeah, literally, you almost gotta like just hide your website. And a lot of people thought that that space mission was kind of fake and everything. I don't know if you remember like Jeff Bezos opening the door and it just looked like super flimsy, and people were
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
like, oh, this doesn't look like, I don't know. Which who knows? I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I'm just in
hard
a
to.
different phase of my life. I don't care about like manufacturing plastic leggings and,
Right,
blasting my face on Instagram or needing
right.
like, to
Yeah,
be something. I'm in a different
right.
phase of my life.
Sure,
And I think
sure.
Lauren's just beginning hers of just trying so hard to be something.
Yeah,
So,
she really was. I just saw something, it was a little bit ago when all the billionaires were in St. Bart's and everything, and it was so tacky, like they were getting bottle service at this club, and she's like standing up doing this crap, and they're like bringing out, and I'm like, you guys are billionaires, like this is so tacky. You guys are acting like teenagers at a club. Like really? Like if I had all that money, I would be way above all that stuff. I'm like, we're not doing bottle
it
service,
very
It's
much
like,
contrasts this presentation of being this philanthropist, children loving children's author completely,
mhm,
right? That's right. You look, that's how I've lived my life. My degree is child development. I've been writing children's
sure.
books for 25 years. But then you see, how Lauren acts when she's out. I mean, that's Lauren. She loves to party. She loves, plastic surgery and flaunting herself.
Yeah,
And she's gossipy, and that is just what her nature is. And I do
yeah.
think she's grown a lot in the last few years from all of this, but acknowledge the people you have harmed along the way while you're growing.
I'm guessing, yeah, and a lot of people aren't gonna do that. And did she always have this much plastic surgery, or when did she kinda get, like, the Joker lips going? I mean, she
I
just.
mean, I'm not gonna say too much about that. I know a lot.
Okay.
I mean, I have seen this woman, but I just don't like doing that to women.
Yeah, okay,
Just
I respect that.
so it's a shame, but
Yeah.
anyways, there's a lot
Yeah,
of pictures, but
well, and it's just funny, I mean, even Jeff Bezos now is all, like, jacked and everything, and I'm like, "Jeff Bezos, you're still a nerd," you know what I mean? You can lift weights and get that lift weight body, but, I mean, I mean, it's about who you are. It's about your soul. It's about the good that you put into the world that really
yeah,
makes people attractive.
yeah,
I've seen beautiful women who you get to know them and they're so arrogant and think everybody wants them, and you're like, ugh, like God,
right.
it's
The way
interesting. And
that
then yeah, and then somebody who you at first you're like, oh, they're not as I'm not instantly attracted to them, but after you get to know them, you're like, oh my God, this person is so attractive. And it's interesting how beauty reveals itself or ugliness
mm,
reveals itself. That somebody who we might say on the surface is attractive, by getting to know them, all of a sudden you're like, this person is really there. It's like their inside switches with the outside, you know what I mean? And
yeah,
and at first they can appear to be everything you want, but then you get to know them,
hmm,
and it's just really a turn off, when people are arrogant and
yeah.
narcissistic and
But
selfish.
Lauren will do anything to keep the privilege that she has. And so she'll be on her best behavior. I always say that even if Kanye West were engaged to Jeff Bezos, he would be on his best behavior. And for Kanye
Yeah.
West to be on good behavior is not easy.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
um,
And was she dating other celebrities? Like, has she always been kind of a social climber like this? And it's like, yes, finally I got the one, Jeff Bezos.
well, Jeff was easy to manipulate. Lauren is a masterful manipulator, the best I've
Mm,
ever met. The
wow.
best. She's masterful. She's wiggly, and so you're constantly running after her. And someone like Jeff, who maybe wasn't as experienced with, dating and things, for him, she tapped into that I'm hard to get.
Yeah.
And when a man does that and he takes action to get something, he in his mind then creates more value on it than what it really is.
Right. And you've seen him change too. I mean, he like just the way they both dressed, like they're in Sundance and they both have the cowboy hats on. Like, I feel like he feels like she's making him cool or something, when in reality, she's really not. She's making him look trashy.
Like yeah.
Yeah. Because it's like,
I mean, to each his own, whatever they want to do. And it looks like they're having fun. That I don't have a problem with, but they do look a little foolish.
Yeah, I think it's just, and maybe they are having fun or they think they're having fun, but I don't know. And look, I mean, I'm sure he enjoys, somebody inspiring you to work out, to be healthier, to be, I think those are all great things. That's what you want in a partner is to inspire each other, not to bring each other down. But it's just interesting how they're, maybe two things can coexist, that while she's brought him up, she's also brought him down a little bit.
She really has. It's funny too, because her lawyers threatened to sue me for the books that I wrote, because I also wrote this book after.
Okay.
And it's nothing about Lauren, doesn't say Lauren's name, but it's about a fly who gets stuck in a spider's web and learns all the lessons about how not to take from the other insects in the garden.
Wow. So almost like a little diss record, Sticky the Fly's Web. Wow, that's so cool. I didn't realize. How many books have you written, Alana?
19 children's books and
oh my gosh,
3 memoir spiritual books.
Wow.
And I've got one more I'm working on right now, but I know I wish I had more time for it. Honestly, I'm going to be honest with you. The last couple of years have just been really tough. Like, I hate fighting. I hate like the negativity of lawsuits and all of that.
Yeah.
And it just doesn't lend to how I love to create, because I love to create being in a positive space and peace, love. So, but I'm embracing it, because I think I think we all have to stand up for what's right, especially with what we're seeing in the world right now.
Yeah. Well, and it sounds like, I'm sure that's inspiring for another book, or if that's kind of what the fly one you wrote with the spider, of how to stand up to an impossible, how to get over an impossible wall that, that all of us go through daily, where, there's so many times in your life where like, how am I going to ever get out of this hole? Or how can I ever, beat somebody who has all this money and power and is able to smear you like that? And, it's just a good lesson. I mean, for kids, especially, it reminds me of kids who get bullied at school and like, oh, well, everybody likes him or her and they're the most popular and they have everybody thinking I'm this terrible person.
Same thing.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, it's bullying doesn't go away. It just grows up,
I have to say, I relate so well with the Wicked story of Elphaba and Glinda. Wait, why am I blanking on her name? Glinda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. It's interesting. I really I love that. Elphaba is always seen as being wicked, but she really just cares so much that she's trying to push against, the wrongs of the world, and somebody else wants to take credit for her magic.
Yeah. And it really is a shame that you have this woman pretending to be all about women empowerment and woman, going up to the space thing, like they acted like they were really doing something, but then at the same time stealing from a woman and a creative and silencing a woman really with her money and power that really she didn't earn. You know what I mean? It's one thing if Jeff Bezos wants to go after somebody and silence them with everything he's earned in his money and power, but she's just somebody who's just come along and feels entitled to what he has.
And she's very convincing. She's very convincing. And now, back when Rob Reiner was murdered, I taught Rob and Michelle for 10 years. I taught the family.
Oh, wow.
It was very close to the Reiners. My first children's book I wrote about Nick Reiner when he was young, because I was doing private yoga sessions with Nick. So when this came out, CBS asked me to be on a 48 Hours tribute to Rob. and Michelle, and I was really honored. And so I drove to LA, and then it was canceled, and then they were going to send a car to Santa Barbara, and then it was canceled. Then they wanted to do it with a correspondent, and I'm sitting there waiting, and they canceled me 2 hours before it was supposed to go on. And I literally reached out to Gail King, thinking, did you was this related? I was emotional at the time because of what happened to Rob and Michelle, but you become paranoid that you can't go anywhere without people then thinking, oh, what Lauren said or what Alana said, or I hate having to associate myself with this, but I'm also not
maybe
gonna.
you're being sabotaged with before you even show up someplace because the power of her PR and like, no, you can't put her on. She's da 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 da, and I mean, it's kind of like what Diddy did do a lot of people who spoke out against him during the time that, if you went against Diddy, you were done in the music business, that nobody would mess with you because they didn't, Diddy is powerful and he's making them money. So they don't want to believe some person who's not making them any money. They don't care. They want to squash that person out and just say, hey, sorry, you need to make it right with Diddy. And then maybe we can talk.
So if there's one takeaway for people watching, it's that if you're looking at the Epstein files, the fact that people say, why aren't more of the abusers or of the victims coming forward? It is so hard because once you come forward, you're now associated with it. It changes your public persona. Victims don't come forward. It is so hard for me, and I'm a strong person. So remember that, to really try to listen to victims whenever we can. Yeah.
Well, I saw that during the Diddy trial. Everybody who came forward, Cassie came forward and on the stand and testified when she was like 8-9 months pregnant.
Yeah.
And then look what happened. You know what I mean? Like, it was, I don't want to say it was all for nothing, but for most of those victims, they were discredited. And I would even often hear women be like, oh, she's lying. That's what makes me sad a lot of times, to hear women saying, oh, she's lying. She's just trying to get money and da, 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 da. Instead of, the thing I always tell people what they don't understand about the Diddy trial is he appears to be a pretty awful person. You can hear that in testimony for people who dealt with him. But that's not what he was on trial for. And I think that was so hard. Every day we would watch that terrible video of Cassie being beaten in the Intercontinental Hotel. And you see a man throwing a woman around like a rag doll, stomping on her. Just this, you see this power, just drunk on power, and in the hallway of a hotel, not even in the. So imagine what he did at home if he.
Now imagine if she didn't have that video.
Well, I always say that, or I say too, what if the elevator door had opened and she was able to get in it and leave? We would never have any proof of who Diddy really is.
Right. And she wouldn't come forward.
Yeah. And it was just fascinating.
He said, she said, people don't come forward.
Exactly. And without that tape, and even with that tape, it didn't really end up proving anything in the case that they were trying to, accuse him of things. In the end, it was just 2 prostitution charges. But it's just, it's very sad how, and I was talking about yesterday, a friend of mine, Christina Payne, is a comedian who, Corey Holcomb is another comedian. He punched her in the face outside of the Hollywood Improv. And it took a year for them to release this tape. And within that year, they smeared Christina. They said she was crazy. They said she was lying. They said she hit him first. All of this, she was up in his face. And then you see the whole entire video, and he punches her with a closed fist. And for a year, she had to live with, people thinking she was a liar. She lost booking. She lost, a lot of credibility. And I see it over and over where men they don't want their comedians or entertainers who they look up to, they don't want to believe that they're capable of it. So it's so much easier to discredit the victims. Like, oh, she's just trying to get money. She's just this, and all these excuses. Even people were saying about Corey Holcomb, like, he just mushed her, which mushing is this idea that, oh, he just kind of mushed, a push, mashing push away. And you're like, anytime you put your hands on a woman, I say, like, there's never an excuse for a man to hit a woman. you know, you walk away. If a woman is attacking you, if this, you know, you walk away. That's what a real man does. You don't sit there and fight a woman. You walk away. But I think a lot of men, they have this pride. They're like, well, if she's going to hit me, then, you know, I'm going to treat her like a man. You know, if she wants to, you know, and I see men saying, oh, well, they want equality. Then, and it's like, no, that's not what equality means. When women speak of equality, that means now you can fight them. But it's so sad to me to see how many men are willing to, even after the tape is out and they've seen him punching her in the face, they still are like, yeah, but she's crazy. And it's like,
yeah,
I don't
the
care.
Crazy card.
Right. I don't care if she's certifiably crazy, mentally ill. That's just then walk away. You know, the best thing he could have done if she was whatever was going on is to walk away. But instead, he's blaming, yeah, TMZ got me good. They now I'm getting all my dates canceled and they killed my career. And it's like, you know, it's just the lack of accountability. I think we're seeing it in the Epstein files of Trump, you know, like nobody is taking accountability. And literally, you saw
because they'll lose all their favors.
Exactly. And you saw all the Epstein survivors literally sitting there in Congress and they were asking, you know, has Kash Patel, has anybody taken your interviews? Has anybody, and like none of them have heard. It's like, raise your hands, and they all raise their hands. You're like, you've got like 20 women behind you who are claiming, you know, saying what happened to them, and you won't even interview them. And it's
going to be us. It's going to be the core conscious community of people who stand up for each other. You know, because we can't depend on the legal system always, or our police departments. And it's not easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I just saw there was this case of Officer Tipping with the LAPD, which he was about to expose like a sexual assault that had happened. He was like kind of a whistleblower. And they did this practice exercise where it's like, hey, you know, if an attacker is coming after you, know, to train officers, and he was playing the perp. And usually they put you in what looks to be like an NHL goalie uniform, helmet, neck plate, chest plate, groin, legs, everything. So you're protected because they might hit you with billy clubs. And on this day, and Mark Garagos was trying the case, and I was there in court, and they said on this day, he didn't have a helmet on. He didn't have the chest protector on. Like, he was not wearing half of what you should. And they pile drived him and slammed him on his head. He was paralyzed and died later. And, you know, and they lost the case. That's what's crazy is somehow this jury decided that the LAPD was right on this, and they killed this man.
Wow.
Allegedly because he whistle blew, and they used this training exercise as a way to silence him.
Yeah.
And it's just like, I mean, as a victim of abuse, you'd have to be terrified because, you know, when you see somebody like Diddy, you're like, well, if they couldn't get Diddy, or if they couldn't get these high profile people, well, how the hell am I ever going to convince anybody that my husband's doing this to me, or my boss did? You know, it's just, it's got to be so. I
don't know if other people feel that. I know after reading the Epstein files, I felt vulnerable.
Yeah.
In that the illusion of protections is gone. You're like, oh, this has all been a sham. Like this this is how you succeed. This is how we are ruled. This is what we're ruled on. It does not exist. There's a group of people who are making their own rules, and it's just for themselves.
Look at Virginia Dufresne. I mean, she even said in a post, I'm not suicidal.
Yeah.
But guess what? They said she killed herself. And it's like, I don't know anybody who really believes that. You know, it's almost like Jeffrey Epstein killing himself. You're like, really? Is anybody really buying that? You know,
narcissists who get away with things do not kill themselves.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. And also, somebody as powerful as Jeffrey Epstein, I would almost believe that he's alive, and he either was murdered or that they faked a suicide. And that was part of the plan to just get him out somewhere and, in a sense, put him in a witness protection program. Because you have to think somebody like Jeffrey Epstein would have to have a clue that at some point he might have to answer for the crimes. And I think
he was was too risky to keep him alive.
Yes.
If somebody was going to put him in some kind of witness protection, thinking he'll just shut his mouth for no.
Yeah. I think they thought by killing him that would end it all and save everything he had, blackmailing all these different powerful politicians and people. It was just, God, it's so funny. I just when we were talking about this, I just had it reminded me of I was having a dream and it was in Woody Allen. I was talking to Woody Allen, which is kind of weird. it's like I don't know why that came up, but prime example of Woody Allen marrying his adopted daughter and almost grooming her in a sense. It's just you just realize how much celebrities get, like Donald Trump famously said, I can grab him by the pussy, and then even when asked about it, I was like, well, I don't know, you can. He's like, it's been happening for 1,000 years, and
but see, that's the thing. It's like people who just get away with it because it's so hard for people who follow the rules to bring justice upon them. It takes I always say like Deepak Chopra, he's been accused of plagiarism for most of his books, and I used to say he's a magnetic speaker. He's like a good buyer. He knows a good pair of jeans when he sees them when it comes to content. So it's easier for a person to just take other people's content and present it than it is for an Einstein to figure out the law of relativity. Like it takes a lifetime to do those things if you are being organic and unauthentic.
Yeah. And then we think of somebody like Deepak Chopra as like, oh, this peaceful guru, and like he would never, but he's allegedly part of the Epstein files. I mean, I remember that was one of the names I was
Chapter 4, people. Chapter 4.
What is Chapter 4?
When I worked for Deepak Chopra.
Oh, right. And what do you think? What are your personal opinions? Was there anything ever kind of creepy about him?
Yeah, that's what Chapter 4 is about. I've been speaking out against Deepak forever.
Wow.
Literally,
I have to copy your book and I want to read it for sure.
Yeah, it's very culty, just using people for free work. I created programs for them and they never paid me. And as soon as, you ask for to be paid, they say, oh, you have a new certification program we want you to go through, and we'll apply that to this. And then also you kind of fall in love with the community, and then all of a sudden you're working for free. And I went to try to, and I remember Deepak like whispering in my ear, "We have karma." And I was like, what is he talking about? We have karma. Oh my God.
That's so creepy. Just whispering in your ear is like, why are you whispering?
I mean, he was creepy in general, but it was his business partner who I was sitting in his office and asking, can I get paid or is some kind of credit on this program that I just created for you guys? Yeah. And he walks across. I'm sitting with like this, where the wall is to the left, and he walks around to his desk and he slams his right foot into the wall. So now his like pelvis is right here, and he starts gyrating his pelvis in my face, telling me I have too much ego.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's what it was like working.
It's almost like these guys. And I know a lot of guys who kind of pose as this nice, good guy and sensitive and feminist and all this. And you're like, no, sometimes that's the most creepiest dudes, because they're using that to disarm a woman, to be like, oh, he's so sweet and he would never. And then all of a sudden, I
worry about like JD Vance reminds me of that, because he's always got that phony laugh.
Oh, yeah. Well, let me tell you, Sharon. Yeah, he's so creepy. And and he's so disrespectful to his wife, like in that speech where he's like, yeah, I'm hoping Usher's gonna switch religions. It's like, my wife's Catholic. It's like, I never had any desire for my wife to switch to Judaism. She never has said, I wish you would be Catholic. It's like, then don't get married if you really have a problem with somebody's, religion or faith or whatever they want to do. But this whole idea of getting somebody to switch to be like you, it's just kind of control, really.
Yeah, it is. It's
not
for me, as long as he's not hurting her or harming her, then it should be okay. But there's just something off about that.
There's something off about JD Vance. There, you can just tell he's also he's like, does anybody who can flip flop and be like, oh yeah, Trump's the worst, I'm a never Trump guy, and then all of a sudden you love, like, there's something I always tell my kids that about, if you're dating somebody or, you want consistency. You don't want somebody who's this way one day, that way another day, this way, and always, I don't even know which person I'm going to meet today. It's like, you know, you want consistency in a relationship. And there's just something about JD Vance that I just don't trust. You know, he
Remember
seems
that clip where he talked about Trump being Hitler?
right. Yeah.
But
that's what I'm saying.
I swear
yeah.
the internet has been scrubbed of it. It's very hard to find. There's only a couple people that have it. I'm like,
right.
Why that? They scrubbed that because you have direct proof. All these people are calling him Hitler.
Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
own vice president called Trump Hitler.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know?
Look at Marco Rubio hated Trump. I mean, you know, I'm just like, you shouldn't be allowed to be like one way and then totally flip flop and be like, oh, I love the guy. You know, it's just,
I think it should be illegal to lie as a politician. They
I
just
agree.
implemented that in France. I believe they should be found guilty, and it should be a criminal charge if you lie as a politician, because you are selling our rights and our trust, and that is valuable. Yeah,
it really is. Well, thank you again, Alana. I actually have to get to picking up the kids, but this was a great live feed. We had 330 people in the live feed right now, so obviously a lot of people wanted to hear about this. And I thank everybody for tuning in, and thank you for your time. And definitely let's talk about this more. I want to keep this story alive because it's so wrong.
Thank you so much for hearing it.
Yeah, and I got to check out your book too. I'm really fascinated by all that.
I think you'll like it.
Yeah, no, it sounds amazing. So thank you again for joining me, and you know, I will definitely talk to you soon. I'm sure we'll have you back on the show very soon.
Peace out, my friend. Thank you.
All right, take care. Thank you. Guys, that was Alana. Check out her book, Knock It Off Book. Again, Lauren Sanchez Bezos is stealing all of her ideas. We'll throw in the allegedlys just because they got powerful lawyers. But make sure you stick up for women, stick up for artists, and just be good people, you know, be honest. I think honesty, as they say, was always the best policy, and I really believe that. I love you guys. I appreciate everybody out there who watches me every day and supports me. I am the LA Magazine food and lifestyle critic. So I get to go to review restaurants and make videos. So if you have a place you'd like me to go in LA, let me know. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Happy Tuesday. Secret Service Sam out. Samson for president of the world.
Can you freestyle rap at all?
Not yet.
Doesn't it appear to be extremely coincidental that you guys arrest people right outside of Governor Newsom's press conference? Is this really just a show of power?